A woman whose death is at the centre of a High Court trial in Wellington left a note saying she had lived a full life, she was ready to die, and she was completely responsible for her death. A retired teacher from the Hutt Valley, Susan Austen, is before the court accused of assisting Annemarie Treadwell to commit suicide and importing prohibitive drugs into New Zealand. Today, the court was told the woman who died, Annemarie Treadwell, suffered depression and pain from arthritis, but she did not have a terminal illness. Our court reporter Annemarie May is following the case and joins us now. Hi, Annemarie. Annemarie Treadwell's daughter gave evidence today. What did she tell the court?
Hi John. Well, Veronica Mansfield said that she knew of her mother's plans to kill herself. Her mother had told her she wouldn't have another winter, and she knew when she visited her on June the 7th, 2016, that she would be dead already. She said she stopped working as a nurse in the month ahead of that because she was unable to concentrate because she knew of what was coming up regarding her mother. She wept in the witness box as she gave evidence about her mother's death. She said she spent the night before her mother died with her, and they spent quite a few hours together because she knew what was coming next. When she left, her mother was watching TV. She said she told the police that she thought her mother she said she knew her mother would not have died of natural causes, but she didn't tell the police that. Later on, she found a diary from her mother, and it said in it that she'd taken her own life. No one had coerced her into doing that, and it was all her own decision, words to that effect.
Right, gosh, that's big evidence for a daughter to have to give. Who else gave evidence today?
Well, earlier the court heard from several police officers who had been at the scene at Rita Angus retirement village where Annemarie Treadwell lived. Sergeant Gordon Russell said that the room looked very neat and tidy. He said Mrs. Treadwell's daughter had been quite concerned. She said her mother had been short of breath in the days before she died, but she also was concerned her mother may have committed suicide. The sergeant said that he told Veronica Mansfield that her mother may have died from heart failure, that the shortness of breath is often a sign of that. He said later that night he talked with a colleague of his, and Ms. Mansfield had been in touch with him and said that she'd found this diary in which her mother spoke and of suicide notes all through it. Most of the witnesses at the scene, though, John, said that Ms. Treadwell looked very peaceful lying in her bed, and that was echoed in a statement read to the court by the registrar Nathan Lewis.
To me, this indicated she had had a fast death or had just died in her sleep. It was obvious she was dead and had been for some time. I checked for breathing and noticed there was no chest movement. I touched her shoulder and there was no sign of movement. Rigor mortis had started in her fingers and they were stiff.
So that's the registrar reading that statement in court. What points did the Crown raise in its opening?
Well, the Crown prosecutor, Kate Feltham, told the jury that an autopsy revealed that the cause of Annemarie Treadwell's death was toxicity from pentobarbital, and she gave them the jury a description of the way this drug works.
It's a short-acting barbiturate. In other words, it's a drug that depresses the central nervous system. Taken in very small quantities, it would cause mild sedation, larger quantities, coma, and then death.
And so this drug is only licensed in New Zealand to euthanize animals. Ms. Feltham said police inquiry showed Ms. Treadwell had supported voluntary euthanasia and was a member of Exit International, which is a group which people join to talk about euthanasia and ways of ending their life at a time of their own choosing. That led them to Susan Austen, who is chairperson of Wellington's branch of Exit International. Ms. Feltham said that they tapped her phones, they had information regarding conversations in her house, and diary entries from Ms. Treadwell showed she had confided in Susan Austen about her wish to die and had also sought her support and guidance about how to do that. The court was told about various amounts of pentobarbital that were found. A couple were found in Susan Austen's car. At her home they found two powder substances which were each pentobarbital and also a bottle of liquid pentobarbital.
Annemarie May, who's our court reporter who was in court obviously today, joining us live from Wellington. Thank you.